Good morning, everyone. If you are joining us for the first time or the first time in a long time, welcome. We are glad that you are here. Today is the first week in a 6-week message series when, through the lens of the gospel, we are going to be diving into some of the themes that are in Matthew Kelly's book, I Heard God Laugh. Right before New Year's, we sent out 2,300 copies of the books to all of our members. I believe most of them have arrived, but I have heard of some reports where I guess the post office is taking a little while longer. So if you haven't received yours, please feel free to take one in the back of the church. Or if you're joining us online, please feel free to send us a note, and we'd love to get one out to you. Also, if you have any family members or friends who could benefit from this short book, we'd love you to take one or request one for them as well. The book is short, but we think it packs a real punch. Like many of you, I was shocked on Wednesday to see the images coming out of Washington. Especially painful was seeing guns drawn on the floor of Congress. If we think back to the summer, there were many disturbing images from then too. My hope is that, taken together, this can be a turning point for our nation as a whole, as well as for ourselves as individual citizens. Justice is not built on violence, and might does not make right. What we want to feel collectively has to be lived first and foremost individually. Now, this story will continue to play out in the weeks and the months that are ahead, but at least for ourselves, let's resolve right now that we are not going to close our hearts off to anyone, and that we're not going to close our ears to anyone who thinks differently than us. The first chapter of Matthew Kelly's book, I Heard God Laugh, is called The Unexpected Life. If someone asked you to share the story of your life, what would you say? You might start with when you were born, where you grew up, how you met your spouse, where you went to school, who's in your family, and what you do for work. You may, as you thought about it a little longer, consider the highs as well as the lows of different chapters of your life when things didn't go as planned. Maybe you have some regrets. Maybe there's a tendency to compare yourself with others. Perhaps there's a piece to the puzzle of your life that you feel is missing, but you just can't place where it is. Here's the good news. Your life story is not finished yet. There are victories to be won, people to meet, chances to make a difference, and experience God's goodness. Things, however, are not always going to go as we plan or as we expect. And as there have been many turning points in the story of our nation, so there are many turning points in the story of our lives. When you look back at your life, can you point to, or can you find any point where things took a big turn? Maybe it was when you met your spouse, or when you lost a job, or had your first child, or maybe something happened that made you see life in a new way. The Feast of the Baptism of the Lord, which we celebrate today, separates the Christmas season from ordinary time. So if you are wondering when the decorations are going to come down in the rectory, the answer is tonight. Well, at least I'm going to stop lighting the Christmas tree. Jesus spent the first 30 years of his life living in Nazareth with Joseph and Mary, living and working quietly and obediently. Jesus' baptism marks the end of these hidden years and the beginning of his public ministry. We heard in the gospel, on coming up out of the water, Jesus saw the heavens being torn open The barrier between God and man, heaven and earth, is removed. God is present among us, and he is working in our lives. When we see the Spirit descend like a dove, it makes clear that God is not a distant deity or an uninterested observer, but close to us, accessible to us. And the voice from heaven said to Jesus, "You are my beloved Son. With you I am well pleased." While these words affirm the identity of Jesus as the Son of the Father, they can also remind you of your identity and of the Father's desire to speak to you. The New Testament makes clear that all followers of Jesus are children of God. Now, children don't earn their status, rather they receive it. And through the waters of baptism, we receive new birth, adoption as God's children, as well as an intimate connection with God. And as such, God says to you, "You are my beloved daughter. You are my beloved son." But this doesn't mean that you're going to have an easy, worry-free life, because financial struggles and health concerns can crop up out of nowhere. And then there's the worry and the concern that you have for your future, and more importantly, the worry and concern that you have for the future of your kids. Every chapter of life has its unexpected challenges. But to us all, Jesus says, "Take up your cross and follow me." The crosses, especially the unexpected crosses, they don't define us, though. What defines us is our response. So, what is one way that you can prepare for the unexpected crosses that come in life? Prayer. Prayer keeps us grounded. It gives us awareness and a sense of calm. And prayer strengthens us when life gets turned upside down. The path to a better life starts when you decide to follow Jesus as a teacher, a model, and a guide. Jesus does not leave us to fight our battles alone. And that's why prayer is such a great spiritual weapon. St. John Chrysostom said, "Prayer is the place of refuge for every worry, a foundation for cheerfulness, a source of constant happiness, and a protection against sadness." We cannot know joy without sorrow, nor can we know pleasure without pain. When we lean into our discomforts, God allows growth and transformation and learning to take place. So, think about the health of your own prayer. And be honest. How's it going? Is it rote and robotic? Are you given to distractions? Are you able to talk to God about the real things that are actually happening in your life? Or would you say that you even know how to pray? Recently, I read that if you get 1% better each day through the course of the year, at the end of the year, you're going to be 37 times better, give or take. 1% isn't very much, but like compounding interest, it grows. In the same way, we're not asking you to make a huge change in your life with this series. We're asking you to develop a small habit, or to develop further this small habit. And this habit of prayer can have a profound impact in your life, and then through your life, it can have a profound impact on the lives of others. A much more profound impact than a New Year's resolution, for instance, to lose a few pounds, or to clean your home office, or to save some money. The circumstances of life are, by and large, beyond our control. But the response is up to us. With prayer, the most you have to lose is simply a few minutes. But what if those few minutes could change everything for the better?